What motivated you to become a designer? And to be more precise, what motivated you to design luminaires?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I think that everyone which is a designer, and who is a designer, is motivated by a certain unsatisfaction. I do not say in English. You think you might add something into what surrounds you. This is what is motivating, I think, 99% of people which is making new design. Otherwise, they will just buy some object instead of designing new ones. Beside this answer, I'd say that, of course, as always, is passion, and it is a way that certain authors have to filter all the inputs they get from their surroundings, from the history, from your country, from technologies, and then you cross all of these things and you understand. You keep on feeling that there might be a new synthesis of all these inputs. This is how design often starts. Always is a very long term, but I would say since I was very young. I'm from Italy, and as you can imagine, from the 30s till nowadays, there are great masters. From Gio Ponti, which was the founder of this brand, Fontana Arte was founded by Gio Ponti, to Achille Castiglione. You know, the masters of light in Italy have been super great inventors, great men as well. So all of these masters have been for me a great inspiration. Also in a certain balance between lightness, but also total commitment to our profession. In a fair like this, you see very different languages. You have old brands which keep on bringing on their timeless pieces, and you have other new brands which focus very much in technology. You know, you have great advances in technologies nowadays. The way you synchronize different points of light towards creating sort of huge displays. It's the total tuning approach to design. You know, so I might say that there is again space for some timeless beauty, which is what we try to do with Fontana Arte mainly, which means not hyper-focus on technology, trying to create objects which live longer than the technology they contain. Of course I have, of course I do. Somehow it's not something that is continues inspiring me, but it's something that I can see through all of my works after. I look at all of them and I can see that I've been looking for the same approach to space, this idea of creating frames which have almost no mass, but create certain tension with their volume and with their form in the space itself. I'm very confident with metals and glass. Not at all. I'm never nostalgic, even when I like to work with the past. And technology is just a hammer if you need to hammer a nail, or a screwdriver if you need to to drive a screw, you know. So technology is comfortable, useful, smart, appropriate, proper somehow, you know. I never get excited about it, but I feel comfortable using it. So I'm not, let's say, I don't miss the bulbs, even if I like them very much. I'm very happy that the technology of lighting becomes less formal in the source. That gives much more space for new ways of lighting we still haven't seen. We talk about different kind of effects on the customers according to the different products. In this fair, in Light and Building, you have very technical brands, which might get into the customer the final effect of total comfort, the proper amount of light, trying to understand what we see and how to make visible the world around us through artificial light. In the case of a brand like this, Fontana Arte, the quantity of light and the kind of light go along with the feeling that customers have with the object which traps and contains light. So the design of the body of the lamp is as important as the light it makes. So in this case, I might say that a certain love for the object is the first effect that we try to stimulate in our customer, or let's say to encounter, not to stimulate. At the moment, I'm working in the new lights we are going to show the next year. We just presented this extension of the lamp. This is the family we presented last year in Milano, and for Frankfurt we had these new products. And we are trying to understand in which way this family is suitable for new changes, in which way we can keep on understanding how the space, the domestic space, the retail space, any kind of space where you have humans, might need another adaptation of this kind of light. So we are extending the family towards a new direction. I think it's that one. It's called Setare and means star in ancient Persian. And we started working around this lamp, trying to make visible the space around light. So the aura that the light produces. So we designed these thin frames, which later became the cage which keeps the lamp, but actually they visualize the kind of glare, the aura of the light itself. And this became very successful because with very few elements and with a very low technology, we almost created an icon, something which it doesn't talk very much about the time it's being built, but could have been built in the 30s, or in the next 10 years. This was a big challenge, and also very interesting approach to design. Well, I've always been looking for, at least the kind of luminaires I've been always liking are luminaires which are timeless. I was a lover of the 265 lamps designed by Paolo Rizzato for Flows, which is a lamp, the first lamp he designed when he was 28, now he's over 70, and still is a great icon of the interiors. So, or some lamps designed by Joe Ponti for Fontana or Gaulenti. So, you know, this kind of products, which from the beginning they are fighting their own time and they live longer than their own creators. This kind of design has been, let's say, illuminating my path so far. I am an architect before being a designer. My main, the center of my focus is the space. And in the creation, building, and the representation of the space, I started looking for the main feature of the space itself, which means the extension, the quality, how big, how far, how much. When I started bringing this approach to design, I had to build a new kind of space, because in architecture the space is mainly affected by gravity. And as you see in the structures, you have the main frames and the ceilings which show that gravity brings them up to the frames. When we started working with light, for example, light now we know is affected by gravity as well, but in the length of time, in our span of life, and at the speed we live, we can't appreciate it. So understanding a space for design of lights, which was not about gravity, but about another kind of radiation, was a big discovery to me. This balance between the space of architecture and the space of design became an interesting crossing point for me, making, let's say, what became maybe my style, a certain crossing point between the two disciplines of architecture and design. That, you know, in Italy, in the 50s, many of the design we love or we know were designed by architects, not designers. So I have still this bad attitude of my country of mixing the two jobs. In this kind of job, we are very lucky because we can get inspired by everything. Actually, you get inspired by what you see, to what happens to you, to what you love the most, which drives you toward a certain direction.
Okay. So, thanks for the interview, and it was a pleasure for us. Bye.